Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Khalid. But today is the 12th of July 2021. It's a Monday. And these are the stories that we will be talking about during the course of the show. We'll begin with Afghanistan, about the cross-border attacks and the prospects of these attacks that could be grim or bloody. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, National Security Advisor Dr. Moeed Yusuf have both warned that the situation in Afghanistan is unstable and the fallout could affect Pakistan as well, because we share a border with the country. And of course, there are severe challenges that are faced by Pakistan in the shape of refugees and militancy from across the border. As we know about the latest details, Taliban have surrounded the central Afghan city of Ghazni as per the Afghan officials. There's more in the following report.
The grim security situation of Afghanistan against the backdrop of expedited US withdrawal poses serious security challenges to Pakistan and the region. Taliban have overrun areas bordering 5 countries: Iran, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, China and Pakistan, with lightning speed as foreign forces end their 20-year intervention and the domestic security situation deteriorates. The group claims that they hold more than 200 districts in 34 provinces, comprising over half the country. Main cities remain under government control. Briefing the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, National Security Advisor Dr. Moeed Yusuf expressed concern over the worsening situation in Afghanistan, terming it extremely bad and out of Pakistan's control. In case of a protracted civil war in Afghanistan, Pakistan would bear the brunt of inevitable refugee influx. The National Security Advisor warned of an impending risk of an attack by Tehreek-e-Taliban, who he said could enter Pakistan disguised as refugees. Federal Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry affirmed today that even if Afghanistan descended into a civil war, the government would not let the fallout affect Pakistan. Prime Minister Imran Khan had already clarified that Pakistan could be partners with the US in peace, but not in conflict. DG ISPR Major General Babar Iftikhar, in an exclusive interview to a private television channel, had clarified that Pakistan was a facilitator of the Afghan peace process and not a guarantor. Pakistan has worked wholeheartedly to bring all stakeholders in Afghanistan on the table for an inclusive, comprehensive political settlement to ensure that the country did not plunge into yet another civil war.
Now, to talk about the latest situation that emanates from Afghanistan, of course, Taliban have surrounded the Afghan city of Ghazni as well. As per the latest reports, they also entered the capital city of Baghdad in the recent past. And how will that implicate Pakistan? Because, of course, Pakistan borders Afghanistan. And how should the surrounding countries move forward as far as going towards a form of peace process following what is happening in Afghanistan is concerned? We've been joined by Dr. Amina Mahmood. She's a foreign affairs expert. Dr. Sahiba, it's a pleasure to have you always on our studios for different segments. And today is Afghanistan. What do you foresee?
It's a very grave situation. We have been predicting it off and on, that if there would be US withdrawal without having any agreement in intra-Afghan forces, certainly there would be probability of civil war in Afghanistan. And that civil war will not be confined to Afghanistan alone. It will be having grave repercussions for the whole region and especially for Pakistan. We have 2 direct repercussions. One is influx of refugees, that is the major possibility. Still we are having a lot of refugees here. That was remnant of those which traveled to Pakistan in 1979.
Let's talk of the refugees now that you talk of this. There are a lot of reports emanating that Pakistan might follow the Iran model. What is this Iran model that people are talking about?
Umar, that is very practical model. Some people say that it is not practical, but I will discuss that. That model is that Afghan refugees will be confined to their camps alone, and they will not be allowed to move outside their camps. They will be provided every human facility there, and if in any case they have to move to some places like for Muharram Julus, etc., or for having high level of health care, then they will be given a card to move to a certain area, but not to rest of the
areas.
This
is for in case there is an influx of refugees post an imminent civil war.
But people say that that is not practicable for Pakistan, because on both sides of the borders there are Pakhtuns.
All right.
So it is not easy to identify them when they intermingle in the local population. But I think that it is workable. We should not be very pessimist about that, about the control of the agencies and control of the law enforcement or enforcement bodies, because once they enter into Pakistan, they should be given some identity.
All right.
Otherwise, they should not be allowed. And once they are given some identity, that identity can be computerized, having a chip inside, as we do all we do
For
have
our
in our
identity card is-
identity card. They can be located anywhere,
All right.
but there should be will.
Now, there have been different statements, whether Sheikh Rashid Saab, who talks about the latest Afghan situation, or Dr. Moeed Yusuf, who talks about it, or our Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, who also informed the Senate panel very recently about the situation that is emanating out of Afghanistan. And as we see, slowly and steadily, the Afghan Taliban are gaining more and more control. But of course, the Afghan government does not accept that statement that emanates from the part of the Afghan Taliban. What is going to happen now? Are the talks even a remote possibility between the two sides?
A possibility is remote because the will is not there. You know, we have been discussing again and again in your program and elsewhere that it is the duty of Afghans to come to some solution. Otherwise, no dictated solution of Afghan problem is there. Presence of US was one option, but that cannot be, you know, option for forever. And it is the desire and demand of Taliban. So they have this moral obligation that they should go for some solution with their other Afghan factions. But obviously, the person or the group having more power, and they are practically seizing areas and capturing areas and advances as Taliban are doing, they become arrogant and they become confident that they can conquer all areas, and then they would be the sole power. That I think at this time Taliban's perception is this, that they are going to capture the whole Afghanistan, at least 80% of the Afghanistan, and then they would be having full control of the government. And you know, traditionally in Kabul, none of the Kabul government was having control over 100% area of Afghanistan, starting from King Zahir Shah.
But I mean, all the parties concerned in Afghanistan know about that. They know about the past of Afghanistan as well. Shouldn't they form some kind of consensus, as Sheikh Rashid Ahmed Saab also says, that Ashraf Ghani, Abdullah Hamid Karzai, Mullah Baradar, Ustad Ata Muhammad Noor, and all the stakeholders should come together for dialogue? Will that happen? Could that happen?
That could happen if they could realize that their land needs peace. But if they would not, and as you mentioned, Sheikh Rashid Saab suggested that it may be our suggestion. But we don't have any control over any of the faction. And it is perceived that we are having some leverage over Taliban. That doesn't exist. And you see that in present situation, when our government announced that we are not going to accept that government which would capture Kabul by force. And you see the tradition in Kabul. All the forces except these puppet governments of Ashraf Ghani, Abdullah and Hamid Karzai, these are all supposed to be puppet governments backed by the allied forces. And except that, all the forces who capture Kabul ever, they captured by force, because Afghan society is a tribal society. They are having a different culture of warlords. So except they should come to some solution on negotiation table, and that is the best and ideal situation. But that is not foreseeable.
Looking at the past of the Afghan Taliban, do you feel that a power sharing agreement could happen between the Afghan Taliban or other parties and other parties, and have, in your point of view, the Afghan Taliban, let's put it that way, have they modernized themselves in one way or the other? Have they understood the complexities of regional and global politics?
Umar, if you remember, before starting this fresh agreement, the last agreement between Taliban and Americans, they off and on gave these statements that we have changed, and they also included some of the women in their delegation to show their change. But you know, now presently, after the withdrawal from US forces, their confidence level is different. they are saying, they are still saying that they would make a changed society, they would make a different Afghanistan, but practically they are not coming to the negotiation table. If they want to capture power and make consensus as well and stop civil war, they should come to the negotiation table. That is the only solution.
Now, coming to civil war, I'd like to quote something that our Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said, and he said on Monday that even if Afghanistan descended into a civil war, that the government would not let the fallout affect Pakistan. How important is a statement like this? Or how possible is a statement like this?
Exactly. I was confused on that. How much situation is controllable for us? You know, the situation on your border, in a way, you are having a lot of refugees inside, and they would welcome coming from Afghanistan, and local population will also welcome them, and there is no mechanism to create a check and balance and registration of people coming from Afghanistan. Situation is not under your control. It would not be, because fencing is not done to the level of still 12 points from entry into Pakistan are open from Afghan side. And how would you control the situation? That depends on your capacity to handle the situation in a legal way. And I wonder that government is having that capacity.
Then what is the solution forward? How can Pakistan avoid the influx of Afghan refugees or Afghan militants in case a civil war erupts in the country?
Obviously, increasing their patrolling and control over the crossing points, that only people having legal documents to enter into Pakistan, they can come inside. Otherwise, no one is allowed. And for the last 2 years, most of the refugees were repatriated to Afghanistan. And those who were present here in Pakistan, they were given their passports, except those who have been incorporated in Pakistani mainstream from Nadra, ID cards. Otherwise, all others were given their passports, and they are traveling on their passports. So we can ensure that those coming from Afghanistan should have their travel document, and the others would not be allowed. But that depends again on the will of the authorities standing there and the capacity of the checking forces to stop them.
All right. I'd also like to ask about your opinion about a quote that was given by the DGISPI very recently on a private news channel. He said that Pakistan was a facilitator of the Afghan peace process, not a guarantor of the Afghan peace process. Pakistan has tried. It has played a very important role to bring the Afghan Taliban and the Afghan government together. Had it not been for Pakistan, maybe that would not have happened. How important do you foresee Pakistan's role in maybe finding some kind of a solution between the parties that are concerned in Afghanistan?
Umar, you're very right. We are just facilitator. We can facilitate. Afghans are not the nation to get any dictate from any side. And right now, this is the point of history when they feel themselves as the conquerors. They have destroyed 70% of Afghan area, villages, economy, and their infrastructures. But still they claim victory because they are able to evacuate Americans from and allied forces from them, from their territory. So they claim them. And now their confidence level is different. And US is withdrawing despite all odds. So at this time, they are not under Pakistan. Even at that time, when they were on negotiation table, they had their own agenda. They wanted to have surety directly from United States. Not they were relying on guarantees from Pakistan. So Minister very rightly said that we are not the guarantors. Guarantors.
DGISPI said.
Yeah, DGISPI, he is very much in picture because we facilitated them, and rather our brethren countries like Turkey, Qatar, also facilitated them to bring on the table. But guarantee is, you cannot take your own guarantee. How you can take guarantee of a third nation?
Now with the exit of the US forces, of the NATO forces from Afghanistan, do you feel that the US or other important countries of the United Nations could or would play a role if the situation deteriorates to an extreme in Afghanistan?
That is a threat to the regional peace, that US can even stop its withdrawal, because some of their very limited forces of US would be there, and US is trying to find out some safe places to watch the situation in the region as well. And if there would be grave situation, threat to the regional peace, I wonder that if US can stop its withdrawal or they can come back, because they are having lot of stakes in this region, not only in Afghanistan but in the whole region. So they are in search of some opportunity to stay there. So it would be very a grave mistake at the end of Afghan factions that they would not be able to find some solution of their problem, and US will intervene again.
Is there a new regional game, or a new regional, how should I say, coalition being put into place now that the Afghan Taliban is slowly steadily gaining control over Afghanistan? We know that the Afghan Taliban sent many of its emissaries in different countries, whether it be Central Asian states, in Iran, in other countries as well. We know the different meetings that have happened in the two countries very recently between the Afghan Taliban and other powers.
In Iran.
Yes, exactly, in Iran. And of course, we also heard reports of India sending one of its key diplomats to to the same areas. Whether he was there at the meeting or not, we do not know. There is no confirmation. Nevertheless, what kind of regional affiliation or game playing, in your point of view, is being played now that the whole region is witnessing a change?
This is the point of history where all the great powers of the world are interested in this region, because BRI, that is having its route through Central Asia, it's extended to Iran as well. It is crossing through Pakistan, all areas, and then that would be triangle in between Afghanistan would be there. So their economic stakes are involved. They have done lot of investment in that. Russia is having research, and it's claiming its position as a successor of USSR, and now they are in alliance with China as far as economy is concerned, as far as Shanghai Cooperation Organization is concerned. So, and Pakistan is obviously there. The only distance power is the United States, and United States is the withdrawing power. But they are having still their interest. They want to stay here, keep their existence as the watchdog on the activities of two rival powers, Russia and China, and they want to keep an eye on their allies. And as we have been their allies,
bear the brunt of this global tussle that is going on?
Afghanistan can bear, because Afghans are in habit of having civil war again. You have seen that in last 40 years, we have seen 3 civil wars again and again. But the repercussions and the implications would be for the countries of the region, especially like Pakistan, Iran, and India itself. India is trying to avoid that, but India would be in trouble. India is not foreseeing the implications for India as well, because when terrorism is crossing borders, it has no boundaries.
Exactly.
Right. So Pakistan would be the first target. Iran would be the one, but to the limited extent. And that can be extended to Central Asia, that can be extended to India as well. And then India would be having Pakistan an easy prey to blame on. But that would be very serious implications for this region and for Afghans themselves. But still, I would again repeat that Afghanistan is in habit of having these situations, and we have tried our best to address terrorism, and we have done lot for maintaining internal security in Pakistan that would be jeopardized in this situation where Afghanistan would be a volcano.
All right. So let's hope, Dr. Amna, that things don't come to such a point that we really have to start worrying, or the world powers, or especially countries that border Afghanistan, need to especially start worrying and maybe apply different models as we've talked about. Thank you very much, Dr. Amna, to have joined us and to have talked to us about this very important development that is happening in Afghanistan as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah tomorrow with news segments and stories. Stay tuned, stay safe, get yourselves vaccinated. Allah Hafiz.